Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To the show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Need input.
Of the coffee kind. I need coffee input. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx right here. Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We are also...
Tuesday, my friend.
Happy Tuesday, my friend. So, looks like Skype's finally done it. Got the stupid updated version. So it's totally thrown off all my OBS stuffs.
Cool.
Stupid. It's not cool. It's dumb.
It's not cool.
Lame.
Lame. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm lame. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. I haven't actually heard you yet.
You was
Howdy.
Howdy.
How we doing?
Waking up. You know how it is at 4 in the morning.
I had I fell asleep yesterday at like 7 o'clock. And like 7 o'clock, I just crashed. Well, I woke up at like 11. And it sucked. So about 1 o'clock, I started falling asleep, but I woke up and fell asleep like 5 times in that few hours there. It was just up, and it felt like I slept like an eternity each time. And then you wake up and you're like wide awake, and you're like, what the heck? And then you go back to bed and somehow you fall back asleep. It was weird. One of those weird nights. Yeah.
Righto.
How was your weekend?
Righto. Weekend was good for me over here. I had a lot of extra just for some reason to play my guitar, and just spent hours walking around doing that. I have a new little baby guitar, as you may or may not know. So playing that a lot, and then actually got a little project guitar Saturday when she all got back from the garage sales. So it needs some work on the pickups, and the potentiometers are interesting. One seems to be an infinity knob, and I don't know if that's a feature or just a broke knob. But anyway,
11's
it'll be
for
something
suckers.
I can play with. What?
I said 11 is for suckers.
Right. This thing goes to infinity
and beyond.
But yeah, had that, and then out of nowhere it's complicated. So we've been at this house renting for some years now, and it's been good. Our landlord's a friend, but it's just not, the house really isn't working for us anymore. It's just kind of big, and it's just Shell and I and 3 cats. And while it's great for storage, it just turns everything into a bunch of boxed up junk in rooms that's not necessary. And so, you know, always looking for something different. And we found that there's a place that might work for us to move to. In fact, it's almost certainly going to happen because I put it so out there, and so had Shell, that all night I dreamed about being at that frickin' house. So that's what I did all night, was go check out my new house and my new little studio area I'll have. And every time I would go to sleep, that's where I would be. So apparently it's meant to be.
Well, that's exciting as all shit.
I am exciting.
And like Eden says, downsizing sucks, but downsizing
Doing
is
it
awesome.
does, but getting there is awesome.
Yeah.
And it just definitely is, time for a change. Really and truly. We've been dealing with some things that are just kind of not dealable anymore. So anyway, how was your weekend there, Josh?
It was uneventful, quiet. Got the house clean. Took some naps. Played with the bug.
Nice.
Just a basic weekend for us around here.
Right.
Yeah, it really wasn't anything too spectacular. No, major revelations in my personal life.
Also, I began taking part in an actual paid kratom study.
Ooh.
I came about finding out about it through the American Kratom Association, which if you take kratom and you're not a member of, you really should get on over there and simply fill out a little bit of a email form and maybe drop a little bit of a testimonial about your experience with kratom, and you're in, basically. And they had put up something when I was perusing their Twitter feed. I guess it was 2 or 3 days ago. I noticed it. And so I thought, I could try to help out the kratom movement with my experience, with it so far. It seems to have been mostly positive. There are always, positives and negatives. That's how this electromagnetic world works. But the positives definitely outweigh the negatives for me. But anyway, I will drop the link and put it in for you guys here in the chat. That way, if you're a person who would be interested in helping, either positive or negative, I mean, definitely if you've had a negative experience and want to share that and hopefully help others avoid it or whatever the case may be. It's a very detailed, very detailed study. And it does require a bit of time commitment. It's not like just sitting down in front of your TikTok feed and zoning out. It does require a bit of mental effort. They even address that a bit in the question section of it. Some of that mental focus and just a lot of factors that come into play when you take kratom on a regular basis or even a semi unregular basis. But yeah, I will definitely get that dropped here in the chat here in a second. 1 second.
Yeah, this new Skype pisses me off. I mean, look at these backgrounds. These backgrounds are ridiculous. Do we need all these colors for each person? Does each person need a different set of colors? You know how hard that is to key out? It's freaking impossible. Well, maybe not impossible, but it's a big pain in the ass that I don't want to have to deal with. Stupid. That's why I think maybe...
Yeah, that's why I hate changes for change's sake.
Well, we might just have to do something different. Like, we can leave the studio in Skype, and as long as I have Skype and the studio's in Skype, then we go to the studio.
We can go on somewhere else.
You and Zach, you don't necessarily need to be here on Skype. We could go totally somewhere else, and I have to worry about this stupid ass Skype bullshit.
So I don't even understand what's going on with Skype. I just dropped I'm sorry, too many things. I dropped a Twitter Kratom Association feed that is going to get you 2 things. That'll have a link in their Twitter bio right at the top for AmericanKratom.org. And then if you scroll down about 4 or 5 places, you should see American Kratom Association, Enroll, NIH, NIDA Kratom Study. And while I was a little bit, well, what are they all about with the NIH, NIDA aspect of it, which is, if you're not familiar, it's like the National Institute of Drug Abuse. I got into some research looking at the two doctors who were behind this whole thing, and one of the lady in the information there, she is like, that's her whole thing is kratom. That's her whole, trying to understand everything about it, trying to get it out there, trying to help people with it. It's not, she's not trying to stop it like I was kind of considering it might have been. When you see things like that involved, that kind of anyway, I will let you guys know how it goes. If you're not, wait, here it is. I finally found it. And there's the link for the enrollment coming to the chat. 1 second. There it is. I have yet to type hello to anyone, but it's coming, I promise.
And a big verbal hello to everybody out there at Radio Lake.
No, it don't count unless you type it.
Doesn't count.
Hope you're having a fine start to your week. Damn, it seems like yesterday was a weekend day too. I don't know why. Just like seemed like Monday was an extension of the weekend to me. We went and dropped off Witt's computer yesterday.
Awesome.
He and Kai's new place. Man, they've done so much already. It's amazing how much they've fixed that place up. But he's got his studio all set up. And yeah, Austin's kind of like me when it comes to computers. Like if Jaron wouldn't have been there, I'd probably still be over there right now trying to get it set up. And plugging in the wires is easy, but getting everything to be like smooth and perfect, it's so much nicer to just have a Jaron around. It really helps.
I bet.
But yeah, so we should see some live streams coming out of Austin here pretty soon. Once he gets it all, he's going to start working with OBS. And that's like one of my no-nos. I tried it a couple times. They say once you get it down, I know you use it, Josh. They say once you get it down, it's not that bad. But just getting everything right, I couldn't get audio to work on half the stuff I was doing. You couldn't hear me talking. It was like, this is too much. I feel like an old man.
It's one of those things where I've really, just the way that I've managed to piecemeal my audio together over the years, and with the mixers that I use, I don't really have to fuck with the audio on OBS too much. It's all sort of one and done. But I do remember that being a big issue with me too, is having to individually set up audio for everything and make sure everything always carries over with its audio with the same settings in the audio. I remember that being a big pain in the ass. OBS is no joke. They just, or having an update or just updated, like the biggest OBS update in 10 years. And OBS is only 10 years old, which I thought had been around longer than that. But it was relatively fresh when we found it, I guess. So, I mean...
So I was trying to mute. Yeah, it seems like if I remember right, when we first started, everybody was kind of going with this thing called KineMaster. And it was always like the freebie, and it had the watermark on the screen all the time, and we were not going to do that for sure. So we started digging, and I think it was you that found the OBS for sure. So, but yeah, I didn't realize we were some of the originators of it. Not originators, but
what was the Google one?
What was it? I know.
Google Hangouts.
My brain broke. But that's not really same thing. The OBS, it's more of a
Yeah, it's like
getting it out there thing, not a platform to do it on.
yeah.
Like talking, whatever, socially. Sorry, I'm miscounting my kratom here. I need to
For about just talking about the Tesla coil. Yeah, I think it's possible. That's what I dreamt about last night.
So you're hung up on the coil. I'm hung up on the house. There you go.
Yeah. Now this Sears Tower, they say, is like 445 million pounds. So I bet this would be possible to build something to hold 940,000 pounds of copper wire. I was thinking it would have to be like, bigger. Like, I mean, Sears Tower is pretty big. Willis Tower, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's like way bigger than I need. Something like that. So I'm starting to see it now. Like how big.
So I know you were really breaking my buddy's brain at work. He was one that was supposed to have come on a couple times and just blew us off both times. But he's a ham, and he really likes to build antennas. He'll build his own antennas. He builds little transmitters and shit. Just tinkers and does his own shit. So I sent him your latest link that you did about harnessing Earth's resonant frequency. And I think it finally sparked something in him. I think he's like, now this is right up my alley. So he was listening when I left yesterday. So we'd be real curious what he's like today.
Hey, this is like area that I don't know a whole lot about yet, but I know it's got to work. At least in theory. Now I don't know how much energy you would create building something like this, but you wouldn't be creating it; you'd just be harnessing it. It's not like there would have to be a human being burning coal or natural gas or something like that somewhere else producing electricity. This would just be something that gathers electricity. There is no, like what Tesla was doing, he still had to produce electricity up on the mountain and then run it up to his transmitter and send out that, that energy. And that's going to save you a lot in wires and stuff like that. But you still have to burn some kind of resource to create that energy. To where this type of coil, you're just gathering Earth's natural energy that it's being produced. Now, I don't know what this would do to the Earth either. I don't know. But all it really takes is that wire to be that long, and you're going to start picking up. I mean, if you think about it, some of these power lines go for long distances. I think it's like 4,250 miles plus it has to be. The copper wire. 31.4 million feet, something like that. Yeah, it's a huge distance, but it's possible.
How big is CERN?
Yeah, it's like 30 miles across.
So it'd probably take a few turns, but you could do it.
Yeah, so it's definitely possible. The more and more I learn about it and start doing research, the more and more this seems like a reachable thing. It's not so unfathomable. Because at first I was thinking, geez, this thing's going to be, you know, just huge, enormous. But I've never thought in sizes of hundreds of thousands of pounds before and how big that is. Yeah, it's neat though. It's really neat. It's definitely got a hold of my attention and my brain.
And it just accumulates, right? It doesn't store it. It doesn't broadcast it. It doesn't do anything. All it does is accumulates the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean you would need things to turn it into a DC. You need a diode with a resistor on it and a transistor. A couple of those things. But once you did that, yeah, it would just be energy coming out of it. Just DC current to charge up batteries with it.
So you think just the copper wire in all of its glory by itself would be harmless?
No.
No.
No. I think a copper wire coiled up that big, I'm not going to be the one that hooks the stuff up. I tell you that much. No, I was thinking about that too, how scary it would be to be around a coil that size if, you know, it does just grab energy like that. You hit that right frequency and that right wavelength. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what would happen. I'm sure you'd have to have it set up at the bottom to where none of the stuff is connected until you hit that big giant Frankenstein switch. Yeah, that's on my bucket list. I went over that on my video yesterday about it showed Parker flipping one of those big giant switches. I was like, that's one of my bucket lists right there. I don't care if it just turns on a fan or, you know, a little a light.
You can get them. You can actually get them, mount them on the wall for your light switch.
Oh, that would be so
Wouldn't
cool.
that be badass?
Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely where my brain's been. Like all weekend, I've been seeing it and putting it out to the ether. I got a lot of good feedback too from it. I thought there would be, because this is like out of the realm of what electrical engineers are taught. You know, when I show this stuff to Bob at first, he was like, well, no, that's not going to work, you know, because, you know, electrical engineers aren't taught about this kind of harnessing of electricity that, oh, what is it called? A antenna and a rectifier combined is called a rectenna. This is one of those words I had never heard before until recently. This is actually one of Nikola Tesla's theorized. Have you ever heard the story about his little remote control boat?
I do vaguely remember hearing.
I
something
remember you
about
telling
this.
us about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what this was. He was able to send that signal wirelessly. Now, it's a little bit different than gathering it and harnessing it. He was just sending it and then able to collect it to, you know, send a charge to that circuit board enough to where it would, oh, the boat rudder goes this way now. So it took Raytheon, you know, to really get this tuned in and dialed in 1969 was the first patent for a rectenna. So from Tesla to 1969, there wasn't any of that stuff really being, you know, done. And it took a military contractor. And that's what it was really like. Tesla didn't want it used for that, but he knew that's what it would probably go towards, would be military applications. Because so many scientists saw it and they're like, that's neat and everything, but what are we going to use that for? Little did they know about, you know, remote control everything now. But yeah, the military was really the one who was super interested in this. And they started using it on high altitude flying helicopters and sending an electronic, gathering electricity up there to run some part of it. And then they say this is how, balloons have these. I'm sure all the weather balloons, AKA satellites, they say this is how they charge satellites with energy. So I'm sure the stuff that we're seeing now, being able to charge a cell phone and this and that, they're starting to get it up to there. I think I saw the highest was 85%, of the energy you send. We're able to actually harness that energy now, 85% of it. Just 3 years ago, it was like 30 to 50% we were getting. So they're getting it tuned in and locked in how to do this. And that's just running off of the frequencies that are being put out by radio and television stations. And then like Wi-Fi and microwave, stuff like that. They're able to keep a cell phone running, at least certain parts of it. You couldn't leave it, watching a YouTube video and doing other stuff, using a lot of the battery. But if it's just sitting there off, it'll charge all by itself now. They have it. It's amazing.
Damn. That's a segment, gentlemen.
Dang, I'm sorry. I was rambling.
No, ramble on.
That was good rambling. Keep it going.
Looking at
it.
switch plate covers for you, so you can throw a switch every time you walk into a room. There's some really cool ones, too. Stick around. We'll be right back right after these briefest of messages. Second half of the first half coming up.
If you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. It may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius level mathematician, you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Time to make the donuts.
That's right. Thank you so much, Stephen Hawking, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Ironworks right here at Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We are also on Rockfin. We are on YouTube, DLive, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Indeed, indeed.
Indeed.
So I made a video over the weekend, and I got to redo it because the data I got, I didn't test things properly.
Contaminated.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about the Tesla coil, right? And when this gets built, this giant coil, what is that going to do to to the animals and the insects and us that are, near it? And the electric field is definitely going to get stronger around here. That's what a Tesla coil does. So what would that do to us? What would that do to like all matter? So I got a little scale and set it next to my Tesla coil. It's a digital scale though. I would love some kind of really fine-tuned scale that wasn't digital. And not a triple beam either. Some kind of spring-loaded, really fine spring. But anyway, so I set the weight on there, right? And I turn on my Tesla coil, and right away it goes up to it was a 10-gram weight, and it added over 0.8 of a gram. It was like 0.8, we'll say 1.5. Because it's a jeweler scale, so it goes down to the thousandths of a gram. And I got all excited. Oh my goodness, I added almost a full gram, blah, 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 blah. And that was the end of the video. Well, then I did it without any weight on it, and it went up 0.8. So that changed a lot of stuff. I was kind of worried about building a giant Tesla coil if it was going to affect things that much, But it came out to making a 10-gram weight weigh 0.014 grams more. So 1/100th of a gram. It increased the weight. Now, when I put a 20-gram weight on there, it increased it even more. I think it was like 3 or 4 or 0.03 or 0.04. It like almost, doubled the extra added amount of weight. So it is, I just need to do a bunch of measurements, a bunch of tests, and then, you got to get your mean and median, all that kind of stupid stuff. I'll get it. But I was super excited at first, thinking, wow, this is making it weigh so much more. But it was making it weigh more without anything on it. Now, the plate is metal. So the scale's getting affected regardless.
Right. Don't you have to tear that thing out anyway, or zero it out? TARE. Don't you zero that weight, that scale out every time you would add something?
Yeah, that's when I started really getting it locked in. Like, okay, wait a minute here.
So it's already zeroed out at what it would be. So it would make sense that even with nothing on it, you're still adding weight because you're affecting what that zero is. So you're still taking into account of the weight of the little tray on top and the platform and everything else, because that's all going to be affected. So it just changes what your zero reading is.
Yeah, and I also didn't put it out because when I learned that as I turned the Tesla coil up a little bit more before it sent the machine into the digital scale into error mode, it started going negative, making it weigh less. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, what is going on here now? So I got a lot of playing to do. That's why I want a scale that's not digital, because I'm playing with this Tesla coil and you get things near it that are computerized like that, it can affect them greatly.
You are 5 years from becoming John Hutchison. You're going to be floating hammers before you know it.
That'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, that's what he played with, frequencies. We're getting an oscilloscope here pretty soon.
Ooh.
That's going to help a lot. But yeah, I really want to learn how to, they tell us what these frequencies are and the Earth's resonant frequency, but they tell us a lot about this place that's bullshit. So I'm going to learn how to do it and measure all this stuff myself. Because relying on, NASA and these types of people hasn't worked so well for us in the past, taking their word.
No, not too well.
A lot of work ahead, but it's neat. I'm back into. It's been a while since something has grabbed my attention to where I am excited, to where I'm dreaming about it, and I get up and it's just like, yeah, let's research, let's play, it's neat. It's good to be back. Yes. Everything in cycles, though, right? Everything in cycles.
In cycles. When you showed me that video, I saw it, and it's one of those things that my intuition started screaming at me, and I have no idea what the hell it's saying, but it definitely triggered some bells somewhere deep inside. I like I said, I don't know. I operate embarrassingly a large amount of my life on intuition, and there was just something there screaming at me. Like I said, I think you're going to be John Hutchison in just a few years.
Right.
Big shout for life, sending off his little boy to his first day of kindergarten and his daughter starting 10th grade. The little boy, he's excited to walk him down to the bus. Probably going to get a little emotional. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cried when I took my brother to college and he was walking, he was getting ready to go to the big orientation thing where it was just for students, and he's walking towards the football field, and he just looked so small. Just walking away, and I couldn't help myself. I got real emotional, and yeah, it's understandable, man. It's good that you're like that, though. That you are emotional. Shows you care. Good on you. And then Liz asking if that's making the nest empty. Yeah. Yeah, so it was a fun weekend. It was. A lot of thinking. Not much video gaming.
I didn't either, actually. I was wondering.
I'll do that to turn my brain off, but this weekend my brain didn't want to turn off.
Right.
It was like, go.
I played a little bit Friday after the show, which we haven't even spoken about, the Friday show, which was incredibly crazy and just amazing. But yeah, I played a little bit Friday just to wind down, like you say, and then really I don't think I turned it back on again until last night. Anything.
Yeah, I don't think I played all weekend. So we just got to finish. I think Hibbler's is done as well. We just have to send it out to him now.
No testing this time?
Well, Jaron was testing that one while I was testing.
Oh, you were testing. I got you. Double test.
He just put it on Bitcoin mining because that uses up like.
That does do a lot.
Everything. Yeah, that thing was screaming. It was like 95 degrees in his room. He had both computers in there running. I think it was the night before last. Wiping them and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was so hot in his room. That computer's like a little space heater.
Oh, yeah.
As much when you're really running that thing, it's putting off some serious heat. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Austin. He's going to be able to go live. I mean, he's been did all his live stuff pretty much from like a phone and
I know, man. It's been amazing what he's done.
So yeah, I can't wait to see all the stuff that he's going to be putting out. He's going to be doing some really cool shows, like a couple shows a week that are going to be really structured and having on, kind of like doing interviews like Dave does, but try to get more technical people and to be on his platform. Because there's so many people out there that
I think we might have lost you there, Zach.
No. Not saying Dave does a bad job at all, when speaking to like the physicists and stuff like that. But they get that quirky, because Dave does a great job. He knows it so well, he can explain it to a child. He doesn't have to use all the big words and all that kind of stuff. Well, Austin, when he speaks, physicists tend to listen, because of the words he's using and stuff like that. It's a way to grab educated people's attention. And Austin is really good at that. I've heard people say, well, you're just speaking incoherent nonsense. It's like, well, no, if you actually know what the words he's saying means and look at them in the order that he's saying them, they are very coherent and it all makes sense. It's just, electricity and a lot of these physics, it's like learning a new language. If you don't know what 3 out of the 7 words in the sentence mean, you're probably not going to understand what the person's saying. So yeah, it's just he has all that lingo down. So I think he's going to be able to, grab the attention of some higher caliber educated fools. Yeah, it should be cool. I can't wait. And Kai is doing so well. They just started feeling kicks and all that kind of neat stuff. So yeah, they're pumped. Just late December is the due date.
Awesome.
Yeah. More flat earth babies. So that was another person who moved to Kakalaki area. I think he's about 20 minutes from us. I think it was Austin saying how we were talking about, the tide is turning here. There still may be some older folk, my age and up or our age and up that haven't, heard a flat earther, don't even know a flat earther. But you talk to, somebody between 18 and 25, and it's almost guaranteed that they have a friend that is a flat earther at least. It's really starting to take off now. And we were talking about it yesterday. It's like, yeah, really, I don't care about people my age and older. I do, don't get me wrong. Love y'all. But it's the people younger than us, the youth, that are really the ones that need to take this stuff and start running with it. And, you know, you don't try to educate, you know, your older people so much. It's not a diss or anything. It's, you know, that's why we don't go to school anymore. When once you hit 70, you don't go back to school. It's not like that. It's the youth, because they're going to be the ones running stuff in the future. So if all these young people and flat earth is so common to them and out there and known, yeah, this isn't going to take as long as I thought it was going to be decades. But I think Dave and Austin and them are right. We're like hitting that 100th monkey point here. They're both saying this year, but I'm saying within the next couple years. I give it 2025. And NASA's going to have their hands full with flat earthers everywhere. I mean, they can't have a chat section or a comment section on their videos right now. When SpaceX does a launch and all that stuff, you go to all the mainstream medias, all their chat sections have been disabled. Now, why do you think that is?
I know.
Yeah, it is. It is spreading, man. It is taking off. Yes, Liz, it will change the world. It is changing the world. Remember, that's like a perspective point of view. It's definitely changed my world greatly. Now, there's some people, you know, walking around in the bush of Australia. It's probably not going to change their life too much. You know, they probably already knew it was flat. They probably never even thought it was something like a globe. They probably heard that from somebody else. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, it's definitely going to change the world. I mean, it is changing the world. That's another thing Austin and I were talking about yesterday. It's, you know, this is the most important lie that they've told us so far, in my opinion, because they can't hide this lie. This isn't one of the, like a false flag or, you know, these crazy events that have happened. We can't go and sift through the rubble. You know, the rubble's gone. The rubble was shipped out right after it happened. All the evidence is swept away.
Well, I can go down to the corner at the park here in Lafayette and look at a piece of it.
You know, this is something they can. It's beneath your feet at all times. You live on this thing. They can't hide it from you. All that other stuff they can hide. Who shot JFK and this and that? They get people arguing their whole lives over this stuff. This is something we can test. There is no sweeping it under the rug. We live here. This is, you know, that's why it's so important.
And the thought process. And I've always said that that's one of the things I think that makes Flat Earth so important is the way that it changes people's thinking and perceptions and the way they interpret information and take in information and think about things. So look at how important Flat Earth and Flat Earthers have been over the last 2.5 years. And how many people having that changed perspective can now look at the information being presented like, I don't think that's right. Let me look into that a little bit more. Be like, oh no, you can keep all that shit way the hell away from me. All because they've learned to look at the world through these new questioning eyes as opposed to the accepting eyes that they were given in school. I think it's just really crazy to think of all the flat earthers that we have now, how that affected the last 2.5 years. And what it would have been like if we didn't have the flat earth.
I would still be probably looking at NASA, Soho, Secchi, and Lasco crap every day.
Yep, I'd be getting my Rona tattoo right next to my NASA tattoo.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep here. It's like the Matrix, once you see it, there is no going back and living within it anymore. When you know that it's not a real reality, it's just, yeah.
I think there are people that can do it. I think that with proper motivation, I could pretend to do it. Like, I don't think I could ever fully go back. I can't just like erase my brain. But I could probably get my brain to a point that it's mainstream enough that I can ignore it and go along and get along and just fall back into the flow of the river and let it carry me away. Probably. I say that purely hypothetically. I've never, ever, ever in my life tried that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, could you actually believe you were on a globe again?
I could keep myself occupied with busy work, but it
Horrible
wouldn't matter.
prison you'd be building for yourself. Well, I know the world's this, but I'm just going to go along and pretend like it's this. Nope. Yeah, that sounds like an internal struggle to me.
Well, you're assuming that I would even put that much thought into it. I'd go pick up a part-time job.
It's real sad, I really think is the word, at how the just the flow of life can so easily distract you and keep you from staying on a certain path. I mean, as much as we all talk about this and all that, it's, I don't know. I spent a lot of years on a very heavily, I don't even know how to explain this, functionally heavily spiritual path. I mean, I did sweat lodges, I did spirit walks, I did vision quests, I did, dances around fires. I mean, I was after something, and it didn't take anything but a move and just focus on my son moving in with me at the age of 2. Just a lot of things happening once, but there wasn't like I couldn't have kept going with the things I had going on. I could have kept them going in a different state with a different group of people if I'd have, it can easily be just suddenly life got in the way. And because of where I was, because of my son being there, a lot less time to focus on the things I had been focusing on. Yeah, sure, I meditated. Sure, the lady I was with at the time and I started doing some hemisync what's his name, Robert. Anyway, some of those tapes together, and yeah, I kept doing some things, but not nearly at the level I had been doing previous. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, maybe, but it's just life gets in the way, and it doesn't have to be screens and their program or their control mechanisms even that get in the way. It can just simply, like I said, just be a change in life suddenly, and then circumstances are different. So, and it could have been just like, time for me to do something different. Maybe it was time for me to focus on different things, and I did, and so grew from that. Anyway, but yeah, it is. But it's one thing to kind of lose focus on something, but to completely ignore a truth, I don't know. That would be a hard one. That would be a hard one, to completely just deny a truth that I know in my being. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, it's like if you're walking around in the daytime, it's hard to ignore the sun. And then that's kind of what we're talking about.
When it's on you. Right.
So it's like, well, shit, how could you live your life walking around ignoring the sun? My answer, walk at night. Like if it's not there, if I'm not thinking about it, if it's not in my sphere of influence, then it really isn't going to affect me. I mean, I can sit here for probably 3 days and talk about all the shit that I have never thought about before, right? And it's not that I ignore it. It's just outside my thought processes. And I think I could probably eventually get back to that where the shape of the earth has no net effect on my life personally, because my life is so busy thinking about other things. That's what I think I could probably do. But God, that sounds miserable.
Yeah, miserable.
If I just stop questioning,
it's like,
go ahead, Zach.
It's like a milk crate sitting there and a bunch of people standing around waiting to hear the truth. You know, it's just it's weird. I mean, as soon as I found this truth, I was immediately told from that little voice inside me to just start screaming it from the rooftops. That this was that important, that, you know, this is the hill to die on. When it comes to trying to wake people up to the fact that they're lied to so much. I don't know what it was.
No, I'm the same way, Zach. I'd been trying for years, screaming from the mountaintops about various deceptions. Nobody listens. But they do seem to be listening a little bit more about the flat earth. Anyway, stick around. We got more to talk about right on the other side. This is the end of the second half of the first half. Halfway point, if you will. We'll be right back.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
The county has refused to produce the network routers. We want the routers, Sonny. The county refused to produce the network routers. Wendy, we gotta get those routers, please. Get up! Routers. Come on, Kelly, we can get those routers. Those routers. Wow! If you got those routers, what that will show. And they don't want to give up the routers. They are fighting like hell. Why are these commissioners fighting not to give the routers? How simple could it be? That will tell the truth. And they don't want to give up the routers. What are they trying to hide? And I say it, and I'll say it, because the easiest way of cheating is to throw them away. That's easier. The county has refused to produce the network routers. We want the routers, Sonny. The county refused to produce the network routers. Wendy, we gotta get those routers, please. Get up. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. It's so ridiculous. I'll be honest, though. Look, we all like to win. If I lost this election, I could handle it pretty easily. What? 1 in 24, sir. You're going to win. And I say, wait a minute. I just won 6 months ago. The big lie, they call it. Those things are unproven. And knowing what happened in the election is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing. The county has refused to produce the network routers. We want the routers, Sonny. The county refused to produce the network routers. Wendy, we gotta get those routers, please. Get up. If you think about cancel, everything about cancel culture, they want cancel culture. But what they don't want to do is anything having to do with the 2020 election. We have no press. We have no voice. They almost got away with it. They may have gotten away with it. And I've got to tell you, I've got to say this. I've never said it before, but I've always thought it. I get along with Putin because that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The county has refused to produce the...
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
It is Tuesday, my dudes.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Oh, we lost it. Lost the sound.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. Is that the new Skype update helping us out?
Probably. It sounds
or did I get us kicked off the fucking YouTube? I figured it being an original composition, there'd be no way for it to pick up anything because Barrett is, he's an independent guitarist and it's an AI composition. So I thought we'd get away with it, but it's possible we didn't. I don't know. Let me stop sharing. So what you guys just heard for a few seconds anyway is one of my favorite guitarists on YouTube. Is a gentleman named Barrett, Bernth. He's from Austria. He is phenomenally gifted. You heard some quite technical guitar parts there. If you were actually seeing it there on the YouTube, you could see this man is quite talented. But what we also heard there is a song written by the old robots. That's right. That was an AI written piece that he composed a couple of guitar parts over. So yeah, it's getting crazy out there with the AI. We played around with some text generator AIs. We've really been crazy of late, going all over the place with these art AI. But yeah, this is a new level to me. It was a very beautiful piece. He asked it to, as it said there on the screen, he asked the AI to write an atmospheric, certain key, etc., and that's what he got. Everything except the drums and those crazy little sweep guitar parts you heard were all composed and given to him by a freaking AI. That's just kind of nuts. I remember this whole thing back, oh man, I don't know. I think I was in grade school even. It was a little short story about a guy, kind of a Renaissance guy. He was a musician. He was a famous musician. He was an artist. He was a scientist. He was Buckaroo Banzai. And he was building a robot to handle some things around the house, basically be a servant. And he woke up one night to some of the most amazing music he had ever heard. The robot had found the piano, and he stood there knowing that at that point, man would probably slowly but surely go away as the robots could create something this beautiful. So that really made me think of that when I heard this piece. Anyway, I'll drop the link in chat. This guy is phenomenal. If you like heavier guitar, if you like techno guitar, it's really a great channel to check out. He actually recently went on tour with the Pop band as a kind of a hired gun and threw some of those crazy licks of his into some of these pop songs. He's got a video on the channel there. But anyway, I'll drop it in both or all the chats I'm in anyway. Give me a minute.
So what? Go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say, what does AI think of itself? If you go to the image.
Oh, there's a couple things out there that talks about it.
And just type in AI, and that's the only thing you give it. What would the image come back as? Would it be a benevolent-looking, beautiful scenery, or would it be like a death and destruction, chaotic, nuclear wasteland? What does AI see itself as? I'd be interested to see what its own self-image would be. Asking AI to draw AI.
Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. I would like to see it too.
Well,
what was the one I just saw last night? Oh, Stephen King apparently asked one of them to put it on a bicycle or put Pennywise on a bicycle. And it was pretty fucking creepy. And I mean, but that's when you get back into that whole thing that almost breaks the fourth wall for me, because it has gone into the internet, searched around and what Pennywise liked and what it was about. It figured it out and made something that's fucking pretty much what you would have found in that movie, but not. That's where it gets creepy too, is that whole not quite right. Here, I'll drop it. I'll find it. Give me a second. I see you just dropped Night Cafe for everybody. Tell them about it again in case they missed it, and it's pretty fun too.
So Night Cafe is a really good one. Liz had asked what website we were using to generate our thumbnails and stuff. Which takes me back. I remember when I first started using these text-to-art AI generators. And I remember sort of feeling like Dave Weiss did when he first found them. And it's this sort of novelty. It's this new area that's really is kind of creepy. And it feels like there's something definitely more going on. And maybe I got desensitized to it and just sort of, like everything else, just brushed over it and busied my brain with other stuff, but just kept using it. I just learned to live with that weird feeling. So maybe that's why I think it's so innocuous compared to sort of the implications Dave was hinting towards with AI. So, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely something. But Night Cafe is one of the easier ones that I've found. Liz asks if it's free. So I think when you sign up, you get a certain amount of credits. And then you can use those with the credits, and you can buy more credits if you want. But they give you 5 credits a day. So,
and there's a series of things you can do right off the bat to kind of pump up those first initial freebies. Like you can sign up for their Twitter feed, you can share your creations on social media, you can follow other Night Cafe artists, which if you go through and look at some of the other creations, it's some amazing stuff. It's really mind-blowing. So yeah, it's definitely fun. And then suddenly you'll, as it does, life will get in the way, you'll get sidetracked for a couple of days. And if you don't have time to go play with it, but keep up with those 5 free credits. I think I'm sitting there with like 80 credits right now, just because I don't play with it every day like I did when I first had it. But yeah, it'll add up. You'll have free credits to play with.
And you
so
can
far,
use
I've yet to purchase any.
You can use multiple email accounts too. So
sneaky.
That's how I've managed to do it. Is I'll collect 5 credits on 4 accounts.
There you go.
And then I just usually will only use one account at a time. So I might end up using anywhere from 6 to fucking 30 credits on one thumbnail. But by the time I recycle and get back to that account, I've already built 30 plus credits back. So you can cycle it
That's
through.
what I'm saying.
So it
You
works
can make
out
it work
being
for
free.
yourself without having to drop any bucks on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see, but there's the Pennywise thing that King was showing there on Twitter that an AI created. So again, there you go, Pennywise, red balloon, and all that. But if you really look, it's not really Pennywise. It's a fucking demon from hell, and that balloon's attached with something that looks like an umbilical cord to like a nest on the bottom. It's fucking creepy as hell. Sorry, I'm just cussing away there, Chris. My bad.
For those
but anyway,
Night Cafe users, they are coming out with a new algorithm within the next few days. So we can look forward to some new, fresh AI generated art coming from Night Cafe. So be on the lookout because I've still got a pile of credits.
Wow. Sorry, I just went to the next tweet down. Somebody just put Stephen King's It into the thing, and it. Well, here. Why not show you on the radio? Because you know it's the best kind of radio.
Visual radio.
Visual radio, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's fucking nuts right there.
That is pretty nuts.
That's nuck and futz.
And that is too.
Buddy?
Yeah. Those weird, long, creepy hallways it keeps coming up with. Anyway, I'll stop playing with artwork on the interweb. I mean, on the whatever this thing is. Man, shut up, mouse. You don't know what you're saying. Did I drop Barrett's links for y'all? I still have it open, so I may not have. Let me do it. Bounce. That's my boy, though. That dude jams. He is amazing. Amazing. And
I picked up my guitar for the first time in months.
Here for you, Andrew. Sorry.
Man, my fingers hurt so quickly. I was when we were at James. Yeah, he's got really small strings on his guitar, you know. And I was tuning for him. And I was just sitting there strumming a little bit, and I was like, "Man, this feels good." I went home and put my fingers on my strings.
Real guitar strings, right?
Yeah, they're like heavy medium. And he was using super light, you know. 3 minutes of playing. It got to the part where it hurt, and then I got past that, and then once it starts hurting again, that's it. You're done. Like your fingertips hurt, you can work past that. Once the muscles start cramping up.
Yeah, no, it's time to stop. Don't hurt yourself, man. You can. Frickin' what was his name? Sykes. John Sykes, who was the actual guitar player who played on the big famous Whitesnake album that had all the hits, you know, that everybody knows when you think Whitesnake, that album that was Whitesnake, that album. He played the guitar. John Sykes, phenomenal guitar player. Amazing. If you've never heard his stuff specifically, go check out Blue Murder, his band, Valley of the Kings. Phenomenal song. Anyway, he picked up a guitar book in a music store while they were walking, picking up guitars, buying guitars, whatever. Picked it up. It had some weird exercises in it to like stretch your muscles and give you increased dexterity. And he literally there in the store fucked around with the exercises to see what they would do for his hand. Injured himself, couldn't do the tour. They wound up getting Adrian Vandenberg and Vivian Campbell to cover on guitar. It was pretty crazy shit. Anyway, so yeah, don't hurt yourself. You can actually injure yourself with that thing. And when you stop playing, especially hop back on slow. While it is like a bicycle, you definitely don't just hop on and start, doing motocross on it immediately.
No Tour de France's right away.
Right. The whole thing with strings has really been on my mind of late as well, as I'm getting these new guitars in the house and having such different gauges. I mean, I grew up with 9s on my guitar. That's what I played with. Just because that's what was on my guitar, and the guy who restrung my guitar the first time and told me how to do it, showed me how to do it, whatever. That's what he put on them, and he was like, "Yeah, this is a good kind. Stay with the 9s. If you go anything lighter, it'll be hard to keep it in tune, especially playing chords, because you'll literally be bending the strings out of tune while you're holding chords down, especially a newer guitar player." So that's where I stayed, with 8s up to about, I guess, 42 ish. And then as I learned about different things, drop tuning, got this new Mark Tremonti craze in my head, and he drops, like I said, literally to drop B flat. It's a whole different thing. You can't do that with 8s because they turn into rubber bands on the fretboard. You can't really do anything with that. So playing around with the set I have, which are 10 up to like 56 on that low E, and 46 on the high E, on the low A, it's pretty different when I pick up the other guitar, which has, I guess, 9s, 8s, something on there, and I'm bending 2 and 3 steps up. It's just crazy. But there's this whole thing about heavier strings give you a heavier sound, and as I'm playing with these lighter strings, I can be just as freaking heavy with those as I can with the thicker strings. I don't think it really is about heavier I think it's more about how you play the guitar. I tend to be very chunky and heavy handed, and I like to really dig into the strings. I've broken the string or 3. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's what it is more than how thick your string is. It's what the intensity you put into the string is. It's not, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, it's not so much my right hand that does the strumming. The callus on my thumb will never go away.
Oh no, it's that whole left hand. That's the boy you got to keep up. Oh yeah.
And my fingertips, I used to have like 1/8 of an inch calluses.
Right.
Second, third finger. My pinky had a little small one, but my first 3 fingers, I was picking up 370-degree buckets right out of the bucket machine. And I barely felt it. My fingertips were so calloused that I could just pick that up and it didn't even bother me. Where now, when I grab something that would be somewhere close to that hot, I'd be dropping it almost instantly, I bet.
Right.
It's amazing how I'll notice that after I go like a little while without working with my hands, like out building something, and then I'll go and build something with wood, and I feel it in my hand. My hands just get like this layer of new skin over them, like they're harder all of a sudden. Yeah, it's a good feeling. You go look at like somebody who works on the power lines, their hands. It's not like calluses on their fingertips like a guitar player. Their whole hand is a callus, like a big, thick callus. You go and shake their hand, it's like, whoa, it's like shaking hands with a rock person. Yeah, it's amazing what our hands can do. They say like people who were into martial arts real heavy used to take, sand, and they just dig their hands down into the sand to build up calluses. And then once they got used to that, they'd go up to really small pebbles and work their way up to like these big stones, like big river rocks, where you're just jamming your hands down into these river rocks. Like you flatten your hand out and point all your fingers and then stick your hands down into these like big barrel of stones. And it makes your hand like a rock. You get these huge calluses all around your hands, and it.
Right. Well, think about that. I know it's a movie and it's silly, but it is based on real training. That's those scenes in was it Kill Bill Part 2, I think, where she was training and was sitting there with
same thing
with her fingers just right inches from that wooden thing, just working it till it freaking became like that piece of wood she was hitting. So, and then, I mean, yeah, I've seen that too, though, what you're talking about, where they're just literally jamming their hands into the fucking stones, dude. It's nuts. It's like, no way. Serious happened to get to that point.
Yeah.
What's up,
Yeah.
Tommy, in chat? I just see you pop in, brother.
Yeah, they were
Fellow.
out market last Saturday, I believe. I know
I
I
knew
saw a picture, and Austin was joining the crew now that he's in the area. Yeah, I don't get out there much. I'm not I'm a tinkerer. I belong in a lab playing with foils. That's my go-to. That's my jam, Some people, though, I mean, Tommy is amazing at what he does. He's probably my favorite flat smacker. I can't even call him a flat smacker. It's flat tapping you on the shoulder
Right.
nicely.
Everybody finds their place in this thing, man. Everybody finds what they are to do. That's what it's all about.
So if you're ever in South Carolina and Columbia near the flea market and you're just walking around, you hear a gentleman offering free information. Free information. Free information. I love the way he does it. He just walks up here, free information. If you hear that, stop and talk. Take a look at what the guy has to show you. Might just change your life. But yeah, this Saturday coming up, 27th, big meetup, US 1 flea market, 9 to 3, food, fellowship, and flat smacking. People are coming from 3 states. Wow, that is awesome, man. And they've been doing this here for a while. Like, I'm sure they are known at the flea market, well known. To all the other vendors and stuff like that, they all know there's a big group of people out there that say the earth's flat. Guarantee it. Yeah, bless you all, man. Great job out there. Love it. Keep at it, man. You guys are crushing it. Well, that brings us about 4 minutes to the last break here. This is just flying by. Haven't even looked at the lettuce pile or any of that stuff.
And I couldn't find the damn the little bitty screen that went away because I had too much crap open sharing all those photos on the radio. So, but yeah, we are literally a few minutes away, and it has been flying by. Let me see here. Seems like there was a quickie I did want to share in the pile, and it was kind of relevant to something we already said. What? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I told you about the Kratom study I'm in, and I sent the links for you guys if you're interested to get in there. You may have missed it at the beginning of the show. There's a Kratom study right now. They will, anyway, I dropped the link. I'll drop it again. So that's positive stuff happening. I told you about a potential ban happening in Ascension Parish here in Louisiana. And unfortunately, ignorance won the day there. People who had actually no clue, calling it synthetic heroin. What the fuck is wrong with people that don't do research? Anyway, so unfortunately for there in that parish, it won't be for sale any longer. What that means is you won't be able to run down to the gas station and pick it up. Now, I have to say, this is a really tough line for me to see which side I'm on because I've gotten in some, early days of trying to figure my way through this whole thing. I got some less than great product. Trying to figure out what worked for me, And as I learned more about it, read more about it, I started looking for the vendor I could trust because, there's contaminants, there's lots of people out there just trying to turn a buck. I mean, that's in anything, but definitely some type of oversight. Overall, I think is a good idea in this. Consistent product, standards that should be adhered to. Now, fortunately, I did find a great vendor, and I will drop that as well for you guys. We also know a great vendor here in our community, a gentleman, James, Grounded Extracts, which I'll drop that link for you as well. But yeah, unfortunately, Ascension Parish won't have it easily accessible any longer. And as I said, there's pros and there's cons, and I am, damn it, I've lost the drop here, the link I was trying to drop for you guys. So far, 6 states have banned it for sale in their state. Now, that doesn't mean you can't still get it online. That doesn't mean you can't, have a guy, I guess, quote unquote. But it just seems like we should have something going on, either state level, something like they do with the cannabis industry, just that keeps some kind of regularity going on here. I know I'm rambling. I'm trying to find the link to the states that have issues. It looks like Wisconsin, Indiana, Vermont, Alabama, and Arkansas currently have a total ban. And then California, Illinois, Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, Mississippi have like local area bans within those states. Everywhere else for now, it's pretty okay, except now we just added Ascension Parish to a not easily accessible state, part of the state. Lord, I'm sorry, I need coffee. I dried out. Okay. Links are coming. Get out there, help the people who need the help with this herb. Damn it, I have lost my link. There it is.
That's all right. You got saved by some break music. Oh, shit. Well, damn, that's almost it. That brings us to the end of the first half of the second half. Second round, we got one more segment to go. Right after these briefest of messages. Who the hell knows? We might even dig into that space lettuce pile. Just never be until. This is the Ironworx, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com.
Somebody should tell us right at the start of our lives that we're dying. And we might live life to the limit. Every minute of every day. Whatever you want to do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. I say to you that if you're driven by anything other than your love and your spirit, your desire to grow and expand, if you're driven by your need to please others, if you're driven by your fear, if you're driven by your past, it's time to free yourself. And the way to do it is decide. Decide consciously what you want your life to be about.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor, Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm starting off fresh and I feel good. I look good. I smells good. I am good.
Ain't nobody got time for that. And welcome back. Holy jeez, that's loud. Somehow I bumped that slider up. Welcome back to the Ironworx, fourth and final segment, kicking off right now. I guess I had to pull up some space lettuce since I did mention it, but
yeah, that's what I'm working on. Actually, a couple things. I had way too many tabs open. I'm sorry, guys. That's why I was struggling on that last segment. Just too much crap open, and I couldn't find what I needed. So go ahead, Zach.
So this is from, who is this? Notebook Check. I don't think I've ever heard of them, but that's who published the article. Tesla owner gets $400 car key chip implant in his hand over phone Bluetooth issues. So he had his Tesla car key, instead of having the chip in, like a keychain or anything else, he just went and had his hand sliced open and slid the chip underneath the skin. And he says it's because aggressive Bluetooth power management on his phone. Tesla owner, not even going to say his name because this is just retarded. He got an implanted Vivo Key Apex chip in his own hand to replace his car key. It was inserted through a small incision on the top of his hand, and he now uses to open as well as start his car. He could have used one of the other less painful solutions out there, like a key ring you can get on Amazon. But his obvious purpose was to undergo the biohacking procedure of sorts and hope to engage Elon Musk, whom he tagged in the tweet announcing the implant. So this is just a cry for, look at me, Elon. I want to make it clear that this chip has more functions than just the Tesla. Now this is quoted from the guy who got this. The Tesla key is just an app that was installed on it. It's perfect for me because my phone's Bluetooth power management is so aggressive, my phone key only works half the time.
Fucking Pandora. I need an implant because it's hard to get into my car and listen to music.
This is just ridiculous. This is a cry for attention right here.
Me and Elon would be besties if he would just get to know me. I have an idea.
I'll get his attention. Just ridiculous. Please don't do this to yourself. All you out there. Okay, it took a little long for the sensor to pick it up because I film that 3 days after implantation, there was still swelling. Now it reads with a quick tap to the pillar. What? It can also be paired with any future Tesla.
Right. Any
Explaining
future Tesla
it-
using this technology. Jesus.
Yeah, until the chip goes bad, and then
Yeah.
you have to have another surgery to take that one out and put another one in.
A lifetime guarantee on your scrying mirror.
And of course, there is no commenting on this. Yeah. Trying to get Elon's attention on Twitter, just sad. Just sad. I know some people go through their midlife crisis differently. Having chips implanted into me is not going to be how one of my.
Every time you say this, man, it reminds me of that segment on the Kroll Show where they were trying to get in touch with the Illuminati. So the rich characters they played were trying to get in touch with the Illuminati so that Wendy could bring down his dad's bank because he was angry his dad was cutting him off with the money. And so when they hooked up with these guys who were the Illuminati, they were all slicing their fingertips open so they could put magnets in their fingers so they could have finger magnets and just go around like, what do you do with these? Oh, you can pick up paper clips. It's so fucking ridiculous. And this is about that level of ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw somebody doing it. They were turning something without touching it. This little metal thing. It's implanted in this. Like, okay, so what's the practical application here? I mean, that's a neat little trick, but what is this really going to help me do? I'll be able to pick up, like you said, a paperclip without having to grasp it. It's stupid. I mean, if you're going to give me some kind of implant, it better make me stronger, faster, something. Not, I can hold a paperclip without using my thumb. And I love magnets. Don't get me wrong. Magnets are awesome, but I don't want it in my body.
I'll find that link and send you guys that show. It was hilarious overall. Just the wink, wink, nudge, nudge stuff. That show was filled with a bunch of that. Lizard people, just the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, Tommy knocked it right on the head there. Luckily for him, technology never updates or gets any better. 20 years, it'd be like having an Atari in his hand.
Right. Fucking lifetime guarantee on your scrying mirror. Congratulations.
Well, they weren't there. We just talked not too long ago about people who had like an eye, right? Wasn't it an eye implant that now is allowing? It allowed blind people to see. But now the company went bankrupt, and they're just kind of out there floundering, hoping their eye doesn't go bad or need a eye update or any of that. Yeah.
So
yeah, buddy.
It's sort of a left turn. I can tie it together with the Illuminati.
I have a left turn when you get through. Go.
So just for shits and giggles, I guess Dixie started watching Resident Evil, this television show that came on.
I was tempted just to see.
How old is that show?
I thought it was new. It's not a new show.
I thought it was reasonably new.
I thought it was new. I have no clue. I thought it was something new. The last I knew, it was Leela Jovovich making movies about that stuff. That's the last I heard of any of it. And then suddenly, new show.
Well, I know it was this year. I'm just wondering. So it's the timing with the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh no! Are you fucking real?
Just watch the first episode. There was a comment because again, I don't really. I kind of liked Mila Jovovich in the first one, and kind of liked the second one, and after that, I just didn't really give a shit.
Same here. Third one, I watched like 20 minutes. It was like, yeah, okay,
I'm done. You went stupid. So I'm just sitting there, I know what I was doing. Hell, I might have even been watching it, but there was a comment about, they call them zeros, right? The zombies. And one guy's talking about how to get rid of them all. And this lead character, this gal says, well, we just have to learn to live with them. I mean, there's only 500 million of us, and that leaves 6 billion of them. And I was just sitting there, just spaced out, not really paying attention until she started citing these numbers. I'm like, I think I'm vaguely familiar with these numbers. Where have I heard? Oh, that's right. These are the exact numbers they had on the Georgia Guidestones.
Wow.
So then I realized, well, the Georgia Guidestones don't even exist anymore. Huh.
Huh. Yeah, right. Huh. Oh, man.
And there was just a few things. It's all done through a scary, scary virus. And she's just waiting for the scary, scary virus to get weaker and weaker to bring the humans back from their zombie-like state. And it's because the virus mutates, you see. I don't know. Only one episode in, I just fell asleep because...
Right. Well, there you go. You saved me the need of the shock of the mention, so I won't go get there. That's... Like I said, it was iffy. The movies were iffy.
Uh-huh. Nope, it was just one of those things. Like, what do they call them? Dog whistles. Now, there's a whole lot of Masonic dog whistles, like in the movie The Accountant. It's one that just sticks in my brain for some reason because it was so not necessarily obvious. It wasn't conspicuously Masonic. But once you saw it, you're like, oh, gotcha, pillar, staircase, checker by, I get you. And it's just those Masonic dog whistles being the buzzword of the day, where it's, those little hints and nods to only the other Masons can notice and identify because they'll recognize that pattern, like the 500 million and 6 billion zombies walking around that need to be eradicated. Yeah, just weird stuffs like that. I don't know.
So I put in a prompt with Night Cafe a couple days ago. I forgot to tell you guys this one. Hidden history, true shape of the earth. This is what it threw back at me.
Can you
and I have no clue what HCIMI is. I've yet to Google it or anything. Or is it HCINI? I can't quite.
Probably MI. Sounds like Roman numerals to me.
Yeah, so look that up if anybody would like to, real quick. But yeah, what are you asking? Could I what?
Zoom that in a little bit.
I really can't because I just popped it up off the site. I don't have it saved on my computer enough to do yet. What area did you need to see closer? I might can make it happen for you.
If you press Control and scroll on your
mouse wheel. There's a way. Control and what?
Scroll on your mouse wheel.
Man, I knew there was a way. What you want to see? Those words?
Just everything better.
There we go.
It's kind of small. Like the Stephen King It's and some of those other ones were pretty small.
Oh, well, if you'd have said something then, I'd have done it. I was not thinking at all.
I wasn't thinking either. I did see.
Brain's not working. But yeah, I think it's just interesting how we got this little inner area here that's got like maybe pyramid shapes and maybe something to do with continent shapes, and then over to the top left corner, there's a whole other area with water and stuff like land outside of land. And again, HCIMI. I didn't put any name, any words, anything to make it put a text in the picture. I didn't say, hey, include some type of text. I used no art basis. Like some of these, like you can choose an art style and it'll do it in that style. I didn't do anything. I just put in hidden history, true shape of the earth. And this is what it returned. Doesn't seem to be a planet shape floating in a fucking void, and the AI has limits on what it can do. I get that, but yeah. Okay, so that's not really where I wanted to go. this was just one I wanted to share. Yeah, I took your advice there, Zach, and I asked the new algorithm that just popped up when I went to Night Cafe. It's brand new and it's here. And I said, hey, AI selfie.
Oh, sweet.
AI selfie. And I asked for 4 images.
That's dark and demented, dude.
That's what I got from AI selfie.
I like that bottom left corner. Like he's
That's
looking
what I
up
got.
through a cave or something.
Yeah, the Hell Cave with all those shapes on the ground that look like people. Lots of ground shapes with people. And then this top right one, what the hell with that thing in the sky behind that almost city shape? And then who's this guy? AI Adam?
It's interesting. It's doing faces now. I kind of figured that was going to be this new algorithm's go-to, was being able to do actual faces.
An
and
actual face, yeah. Without all the weird obscureness like the bottom right is usually what you get, the bottom right guy with a very vague face. But yeah, there we go. AI selfie for you, Zach. I'll include that in the show picture for everyone to have nightmares.
How about last selfie in the world?
Yeah, I've seen that
there
one.
was that one. That was, yeah.
Yeah, those are messed up.
Plasma tentacles. Yeah, very nice, Brian. Oh, HCMI, human computer interaction for medical imaging, is what Ona returned on that. What the actual hell?
When was Leonardo da Vinci supposedly around?
I thought 13th century, but that's
What the hell?
just completely reflexive without having any real idea. Just something about 1200s. I don't know. I give up. Win.
When, right?
Yeah. Leonardo da Vinci.
I wish there was a way that when you had these silly questions, you could just look it up and find the answer real fast.
I know, like a quick look up too. It's like, how fast can I find out? But you know, these days you got to go to the library and dig through books.
52 he was born. Okay, so before electricity, right? Well, Dave found a thing that was a free energy device, supposedly, that it was never built, but it was theorized, and the schematics were drawn up by Leonardo da Vinci. Now, according to the history of electricity, we didn't even know about electricity in the 1400s. There was no electricity then. We didn't figure out any of that stuff till like the early 1700s, 1600s, somewhere around there. But Dave found this image of a electricity harnessing machine. I used it as the thumbnail yesterday for that show I did. But yeah, our history is so convoluted and just, it narcs on itself. When you start looking at stuff and adding all of the times together, it's like, wait a minute. If he designed this then, and electricity didn't start happening until then, how did he even know about it? Like, it's weird. They really missed the ball on a lot of their dating stuff, and I mean, it's a good story, don't get me wrong. They had me fooled for the longest time, but yeah, when you start adding up the dates and stuff like that and really researching it like we were never taught to do, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Yeah, Baghdad battery. How old is that thing? All right, Dave. Can someone supersize what I missed on one word? AI selfie.
Right.
2 words.
Right. I mean to pop it up for Dave real quick since he's late.
Yeah, I guess we can.
All right, Dave. Just for you, we're going to redo this.
Summarize.
Samurai. Oh,
Big shout to Grounded Extract.
what's up, James? You were
But,
just, your ears should be burning as well. So, David, I put in AI selfie for a prompt on a new algorithm on Night Cafe, and this is what I got back.
yeah, of course, it couldn't have been a nice, beautiful image with butterflies in the
I'm
back.
sure I could have made that happen too.
I'll put
that. I'll send
Just
that to you, Dave.
AI selfie, and of course, it gives you a black and white, demonic-looking setting. You know,
That's too many tabs. Too many.
too many. Yeah, I knew it was going to be something dark and sinister when you put AI selfie in. It wasn't going to be rainbows and butterflies and a unicorn, you know. Nope, some demented. Now, the bottom left one was a cool looking picture. I agree with you, Josh. Looking up through that hole like you're in a cave or something.
It reminded me of a picture, though, of a picture either of Dante's, quest, journey, whatever. Something I've seen. It definitely is based it on a style of art, and that's probably why it's got the darkness. But I didn't, like I said, it's one of those things where it looks on there and the internet and finds that and gave it to us. I don't know. We'll see.
Thanks, Brian. We forgot the someone trying to get Elon's attention by implanting their Tesla key, their RFID key to start their car into their hand because the Bluetooth on their phone didn't work half the time. It was just using up too much power on the phone battery. So I went and had, who needs a keychain? I'll just have it right implanted into my hand. But it was all a thing to try to get Elon's attention. He even sent a tweet out to Elon and blah, blah, blah. Just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That about does it, folks. We're about 4 minutes out. That one flew by.
Wait, the show's over?
There was one?
There was one? Dude, I really in my head thought we had another segment ahead. Oh my God, I need to get some sleep.
Yeah, it's neat. I'm getting back into the flow of things and research. It's not like I could do that research. Now it's like I have to do this research to know.
Pace
I
yourself.
love it.
Don't burn yourself out. You've got some pretty important things coming up that you want to be sharpen on your game.
I do my best not to electrocute myself. No problem.
Yeah. That too. And don't die.
You already sound like a freaking walking Tesla coil when you're on your phone. I know you did that to your phone, but it's just funny that when you go in your room, it's just it's like a field in there, dude. Like I said, you'll be levitating. You'll be levitating, not just hammers. You'll be floating above your bed. So
Well, I was thinking if things do get heavier, right, when you increase the electric field, could we make a Superman type person by raising them in a super strong electric field? I mean, ridiculously strong. And then let them out into the real world where the electric field is much weaker. Wouldn't things just be so much lighter to them now?
Like a Dragon Ball.
Maybe that's why we're in this electromagnetic suit we live in here. Like the elites are born in this field, they grow up to a certain point in this field, and then they get to go to the hidden lands and fly around like Superman.
That'd be cool. Or maybe the electric field in some of these other ponds, possible other ponds, is way different, and that's why we get, these beings that seem like superheroes to us. It's just because their environment was stronger.
Like they had like a red sun instead of a yellow sun, things like that.
Big shout out to Grounded Extracts, James in chat.
Yes.
Someone else who's going to have some pretty badass AI art coming out. Seems like the old robots know exactly what to do when you say Grounded Extracts.
Really?
Well, pretty. I don't know exactly what his text prompts were, but he got some pretty badass looking images.
I didn't see them. Where are they at? I missed it.
Oh, he texted them to me.
Oh, okay. Well, send me some of those, James. I'd like to see them, brother. For sure. And Daryl, since I saw you in chat, don't forget to send me that PNG as soon as you get it. I'm going to bug you, man, I know, but I'm excited to fix that up for you.
That way I don't have to bug you for it later.
No, I'm on it. I'm on top of it, brother.
So the wife now has to work a half day on Thursday because her work is stupid. She was supposed to have off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So now she's got to go in on the half day on Thursday.
Apparently, B, Brian there, is having issues with Real ID. Oh, wait, no. I read it wrong. It was Walking Axel that was trying to get a Real ID, and Brian was commenting on that. Sorry. Just call us after the show, David. We'll catch you up. Oh, and you missed the AI song demo. I showed everybody the AI song at the beginning of our second segment, I believe. So there you go. We've got you pretty much caught up. So, guys, thank y'all so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for hanging out. It's early for some, late for others, and, well, like Earth in the Goldilocks zone. For others, it's just right on time.
Just right. Love y'all, truly. Thank y'all. Get my house. That's Put that out there. Get my house.
Positive vibes. Everybody visualize Walt in his new studio space. Love you guys. We will see you right back here on Friday morning for more of the Ironworx, Truth Frequency Radio, TFR Live, Iron Realm Media on the YouTubes, and pretty much anywhere else on the interwebs. And of course, there's Have No Sphere on a Friday night. You guys be good, be well, have a great rest of your week. We love you.